And we are live. It's the Revved Up 906 podcast, a Detroit Pistons podcast to be exact. And I'm Ryan. Tonight, we fall to the defending champs 107 to 103, even without Nikola Jokic and Mike Malone out there for the Nuggets. Nikola got thrown out of the game, as did Mike Malone. And even without the two of them, I knew this game was going to be tough. And I will say the Nuggets aren't as good of a team when Jokic isn't out there. When Mike Malone is not on the sideline either. They are a very good team still, but they're taken down a step. And so even though those two guys were not A on the sideline and B on the court, I knew this was going to be a tough matchup from the get-go. When you have guys like Reggie Jackson, former Piston, you have KCP, former Piston, Aaron Gordon, Christian Braun, all those guys worked their tails off, and it shows for it, and it's evident tonight in the one of the reasons why we lost this game. We saw Marvin Bagley out there. Duren is still out with an injury with his ankle, but we did see the return of Isaiah Livers. But Bagley tonight, 18 points, 1 assist, 8 rebounds, 4 of 5 from the line, 7 of 13 from the field in 26 minutes. He didn't miss a beat. He had a phenomenal game. He was one of those big contributors from the beginning of the game. Even with Jokic out there, Jokic didn't have his number early on, and it was evident. Asar Thompson, 8 points, 2 blocks, 7 boards, 4 of 10 from the field in 24 minutes. Not one of those extremely exciting games out of him, but that was due to foul troubles. He finished with 5 fouls tonight. If you take away the fouls, he was there. He made his presence known. He had a lot of good quality plays. The 2 blocks were very good. And then it's just his shot selection wasn't awful, but it wasn't spectacular either. But I'm sure he would have had a bigger impact on tonight if he didn't have the foul issues that he had. Isaiah Stewart, 11 points, 2 blocks, 1 assist, 11 boards, 100% at the line, making 2 free throws, 1 of 2 from 3 and 4 of 8 from the field in 35 minutes. Stu balled out. He was one of those, another one of those reasons why we were in it tonight. But that's been the common theme between Bagley and Stu without Duren, is they've kept us in the games majority of the time. We saw Cade Cunningham, 27 points, 1 block, 3 steals, 9 assists, 2 rebounds on 11-11 from the line, 100%, 2 of 4 from 3, and 7 of 17 from the field in 38 minutes. Now, I know a lot of you Pistons fans out there going like, Cade, you had a great game. And then I know a lot of you, without even watching the game, are going like, wow, Cade had a great game. I'm sitting here going, yeah, he filled up the stat line for sure. The 27 points, good. The 3 steals, the block, great. The 9 assists, decent. The 2 boards, The 11 makes at the line, great. But truthfully, I don't think his game tonight was anything special. I think there were a lot of flaws in tonight that he needs to work on. But that's just the bottom line of any young slash inexperienced, haven't gotten the right amount of time in and out of each lineup. I mean, Cade is coming off of a season in which he really didn't play, only played in 12 games. So it's still an adjustment period for him. But even so, the passing from him tonight was not great. I know he finished with 9 assists, but he also had 5 turnovers. His passing tonight it wasn't good. It was like he's taking the defense, sucking the defense down, which is nice because then you're going to kick it out. But he would try that every single time. And the Nuggets are a smart team. They have good quality players. They have a great coaching staff. They know that what you're trying to do. So they're always going to play. They're not going to play off that. They're just going to focus on their man that they're guarding. And then also like the passing attempts outside of Cade, sucking the defense down and then trying to kick it back out. weren't great either. There were times of you're going like, Cade, what are you doing right now? That was not a smart play, or the shot selection just wasn't there tonight. I mean, I know he had 7 of 17, 2 of 4 from three, 27 points, but there were, to me, in my mind, it wasn't a phenomenal game from him. It was a game in which he did get it with ease, but there were a lot of opportunities that he missed that he could have had, and but he could easily get that in the next couple games or even the rest of the season. But that was just my one takeaway from him, and a little bit of a critique is that even though his stat line was like, okay, Cade, you had a decent game. From watching him tonight, it wasn't like, wow, Cade is having a great game. It's more of like, oh, Cade, what are you doing? But hey, yeah, had a good game. I'm not complaining. But at the end of the day, we lost the game, so maybe I am. We saw Jaden Ivey get the start tonight over Killian Hayes, which a lot of you are going like, yes, but no, I have no complaints. Even if Killian was out there, I'd be fine with that. We saw Jaden Ivey get 17 points, 1 steal, 3 assists, 4 boards, 100% at the line, making 2 free throws, 100% from 3, making a 3, and then 7 of 8 from the field in 30 minutes. That was a great game, getting his second start of the season. I'm sure you're going to expect more of Jaden Ivey down the line, not just off the bench, but even contributing in starting lineups. I think that tonight is a game in which Monty really wanted to throw a lot of different rotations out there to see what everybody can do together against a team like the Nuggets, who are that good. And so Jaden Ivey did not miss a beat. He played exactly like he had played last year. And this is the Ivy that a lot of you guys have missed seeing. And I'm sure, like, honestly, I did miss seeing him like this too. But even the games in which he's coming off the bench, he can still be this effective off the bench if given the opportunity, not just from Monty and the coaching staff, but also like from the opposing team. The Nuggets were letting him go to work all night long. They were letting him do his thing. Because like with the Nuggets, without Jokic, you can only guard so many guys. Because when you have the Pistons, now I know we're on a 12-game losing streak, not great. But still, we have Isaiah Stewart, we have Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Marvin Bagley, Killian Hayes, Alec Burks, Marcus Sasser. The point is, like, we have some good offensive players on this team. And so when you try and limit Ivy, what happens to, there's always going to be the next guy up, and they didn't worry about him too much. They focused on everybody else because they haven't seen as much from the Ivy as they have from everybody else, but that allowed Ivy to do his thing tonight. We saw Isaiah Livers. Welcome back, dude. 23 minutes played, 6 points, an assist, 4 boards, 4 of 4 from the line, 0 of 3 from 3, and then 1 of 7 from the field. He came in, initially hit that jumper right away, and we're going, okay, welcome back. But he just couldn't find his jump shot after that. It was a rough game for him. Now, I will point out for some of you that are going like, wow, in 23 minutes, that's all he could do. He did have a minutes restriction on him because of the injury to his ankle. So he's slowly getting back in. This was his first game back. We should see more of him in the future. But from the standpoint of your first game back, playing 23 minutes, kudos, because that's what we want to see. He actually was diving all over the floor too. He was playing exactly like he played last year. Just he couldn't get the rhythm from shooting the ball that he had in the past. He was perfect at the line, which is good, but there were still some negatives and some positives from him tonight, as there will be for majority of the players on this team since we lost. Wiseman, 10 minutes, only had 3 boards. I'm surprised he got playing time, but I'm not complaining that he did. It was just one of those games. Killian, 14 minutes played, had 2 steals, 2 assists. That was it. I think there's something that he's tweaked a little bit that is not necessarily feeling the best with him, and that's because he had been starting, right? He had been getting 23 plus minutes a game from the start of the season till now, and so it's just there must have been a tweak here and there. But I don't think we need to be worried about killing off the stat line. Alec Burks, 3 points, a steal, 2 assists, 3 boards, 1 of 2 from the line, 0 of 4 from 3, and 1 of 5 from the field in 17 minutes. Not great, but again, Monty was just trying to do everything he could. But I will make note of this. Stanley Amude, I think, and I've said this in the past, he deserves to have an official roster spot on this team going forward, not just a two-way deal, because the dude can shoot and he's a solid defender. In 18 minutes tonight, 11 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound, 3 of 5 from 3, and then 4 of 8 from the field. Coming off the bench, in which you're a two-way player, you're most likely not going to get as much playing time as anybody else because they're actually on the active roster, whereas you're a two-way guy. Stanley Amude, time and time again, has proven that he is a good source of fuel for this Pistons team. And I would not be shocked at all if this two-way deal ended up becoming a full-time, you're on the team, active roster kind of spot, because he's playing very, very good in the opportunities that he's been given. But without Jokic, the Nuggets, their leading scorer tonight, Reggie Jackson. And I will say this as a Pistons fan, I do miss him, and I'm sure a lot of you do. He was one of my favorite Pistons in the Stan Van Gundy era. And honestly, in my opinion, he was probably the best move that Stan ever made. Because from drafting or the other trades he made, there's not many positives to go off of. But Reggie Jackson, I love you. Even if that means you have a great night against your former team, so be it. I mean, I'm not complaining. I love seeing Reggie play. Tonight, 21 points, a block, a steal, 6 assists, 3 boards, 2 of 3 from the line, 1 of 3 from 3, 9 of 15 from the field in 32 minutes played. This was like prime Reggie Jackson that we saw in his last season with the Pistons before he got moved at the deadline. Well, not so. It was just one of those games that he had our number, and he's been playing great since Murray's been out for them. KCP, 20 points, 2 blocks, 2 steals, 3 assists, 2 of 2 from the line, 2 of 5 from 3, and 8 of 17 from the field in 36 minutes. The former Pistons just gave it to us tonight. They had phenomenal games, and it shows you how deep this Nuggets team is, even without Jokic and even without Mike Malone on the sideline. This team is deep, and when you have 2 valuable asset kind of players in Reggie Jackson and KCP being one of the big reasons why the Lakers even won their championship, but they know how to win. They know how to play the game the right way. And they're just very smart players. So kudos to you guys coming back to Detroit and doing your thing. But there weren't a lot of positives tonight. And I will say this, that last stretch there was rough. I mean, 1 field goal in the last 6+ minutes of the game, not great. I will say this, the rotation of guys we had out there, of Isaiah Livers, Jaden Ivey, Isaiah Stewart, Cade Cunningham, and Asar, like it's not a great lineup. It's not a fabulous lineup. It's not like, whoa, that's a great lineup out there, guys. But it is a lineup. It's not a great offensive lineup. It's more defensive minded than offensive. Cade in that last stretch couldn't get a good shot up to really save his life. Isaiah Stewart, as good as he is offensively now, more than ever, not much was going on there. Jaden Ivey didn't touch the ball, and I think that was a mistake. But I don't think Livers should have been out there in that crunch time situation. I understand Burks is dealing with some things. I understand Killian is dealing with some things. But like, you could have thrown out Stanley Amude, honestly. That would have been a better threat to the Nuggets than Isaiah Livers. But I'm not here critiquing Monty too much. It's a growing process. We're going to go through some pains. It's not like life-threatening, like, oh no, this is the end of the Pistons. No, it's one of those games in which you're going to get some growing pains, and that's what this season is all going to be about. We're going to have a lot of positives. We're going to have a lot of negatives. We're going to have a lot of in-betweens. But this is a game to grow off of, because the fact that we held the defending champs to only a 4-point win without Jokic and Mike Malone, granted, those two guys helping their team tonight, it would have been probably a 10-point game, 12-point game. But you can put your hat on the fact that we held the defending champs to 4 points tonight. And that's all. That's probably the biggest positives you could have hoped for, outside of Jaden Ivey doing his thing and Marvin Bagley doing his thing. And then Stanley Amude was the unsung hero tonight. I love him out there. Again, take him off a two-way. He needs to be on the active roster. But that will do it for tonight's recap. Final score, 107-103 in the Nuggets' favor. We will see you guys next time. Peace.